our work about resistance alterations to BRAF inhibition in single CTCs from non-small cell lung cancer patients. This work was published last year in British Journal of Cancer. And then I will talk briefly about a new method developed in collaboration with Wegman Hütter to improve CTC detection. So here we show that the enrichment-free FACS CTC detection complements ctDNA-based prognosis in stratification of non-small cell cancer patients. So this work is actually under review in NPG Precision Oncology, so this is a confidential work. So what about lung cancer? This is the most common cause of cancer-related deaths worldwide. This disease is often diagnosed at an advanced stage without curative treatment. Non-small cell lung cancer represents 85% of lung cancers, and the vast majority of these patients harbor an oncogenic driver alterations such as BRAF, EGFR, and KRAS somatic mutations, or OS1 and ALK fusions. Nearly half of these alterations are targetable, and today I will focus my talk on the BRAF mutated non-small cell lung cancer, which represents about 5% of these patients, and particularly on the half of these cases harboring the BRAF V600E mutation. So, what is a liquid biopsy? It is defined by different tumor components contained in the body fluids, such as circulating tumor cells, circulating tumor DNA, extracellular vesicles, and microRNAs. This is an alternative to solid tumor biopsy, which can be invasive and difficult to perform. Whereas liquid biopsy is minimally invasive, easy to perform, and repeatable over time, allowing longitudinal monitoring for clinical studies. So you know that CTCs are extremely rare and very heterogeneous. Some of them have tumorigenic capacities, and they have a good representation of the tumor heterogeneity from primary tumors or metastatic tumors. Research on CTCs provides important clinical information, such as the prognostic value of CTC count, which has been demonstrated in several clinical studies. Then the use of CTCs as a liquid biopsy allow to identify molecular alterations that can be potential therapeutic targets and contribute to a real precision medicine. And finally, CTCs allow the identification of predictive biomarkers of treatment response. So what about the BRAF signaling pathway and the targeted therapies? The BRAF protein belongs to the MAP kinase signaling pathway, which plays a major role in cell proliferation, differentiation, and survival. The standard of care for the BRAF V600E mutated non-small cell cancer patients is a combination of two therapies, the dabrafenib, which is a BRAF tyrosine kinase inhibitor, and the trametinib, which is a MEK inhibitor. However, acquired resistance mechanism always develops to targeted therapies. The knowledge about resistance mechanism to BRAF inhibitors is very limited for non-small cell lung cancer. Unlike EGFR or ALK, acquired resistance mutations within the BRAF gene, the on-target gene, remains to be elucidated, and the most common off-target resistance mechanisms results in the MAP kinase pathway activation. Cell cycle dysregulation and hypopathway activations are also described. So for this project, I use cell search technology developed by Menarini Silicon Biosystems. This technology allows the positive selection of CTCs based on EpCAM protein expression on the surface of epithelial CTCs. This is standardized and semi-automated. This is the only system approved by the FDA as a prognostic factor for breast, prostate, and colorectal cancers. It is validated in terms of performance and robustness, and this is a reference test widely deployed in multi-center studies. However, we have low sensitivity, particularly in non-small cell lung cancer, due to the epithelial mesenchymal transition. We cannot detect all the CTC subpopulations, and there is no flexibility, so it's not really suitable for research. So that's why we used the Rosette-Sepp enrichment technique in parallel, which allows the eliminations of the hematopoietic cells and the recovery of CTCs without any phenotypic a priori. So after an immunofluorescence staining with a nuclear marker, the CD45 to exclude the white blood cells of the analysis, and cytokeratins to recover CTCs, we performed a single CTC isolation by FACS, and this is followed by a whole genome amplification of the single CTCs. Then, based on the whole genome amplification quality controls, we performed the targeted NGS to explore the mutations, and the low-pass whole genome sequencing to analyze the copy number alteration with the help of the Menarini Silicon Biosystems kits. So in our cohort, we had 7 patients were prospectively enrolled and monitored on BRAF/MEK inhibitors. The solid tumor biopsy at progressive disease was available for 4 patients. And the cell-free DNA mutational analysis were performed by the Inivata company at several time points of this treatment. And for sure, blood samples for CTC analysis were collected at progressive disease. So in this cohort, we detected 17 CTCs by the cell search technique, and we managed to isolate 150 single CTCs by FACS. So what about the mutational heterogeneity? 60 CTCs were selected for the targeted NGS. 26 of them harbored at least one mutation, but only one CTC harbored the BRAF-600 mutation, which was also present in the match tumor biopsy and ctDNA. And the vast majority of the off-target mutations, so not in the BRAF gene, were detected in CTCs were not present in ctDNA or tumor biopsies when available. So all of this data highlights the complementary information of the tumor biopsy, ctDNA, and single CTC. So now, what about the copy number analysis of single CTCs? We can observe some recurrent alterations, but the CTC-CNA profile shown an important intra-patient genomic heterogeneity, with here the example of only one patient. So the CTC1 is different from the CTC2 and CTC3, for example, and we have the normal control here, and the tumor biopsy, the matched tumor biopsies above. So concerning the ploidy levels of CTCs, so we can see an important chromosomal instability in a fraction of CTCs, with 30% of them having a ploidy higher than 2N, and going up to 6N, so it's huge, which may impact tumor evolution. And the 4 tumor biopsies we had the chance to have at the ploidy at 2N. This is a comparative analysis of CNAs between CTCs and tumor biopsies. So CTC profiles encompassed the majority of matched tumor biopsies, CNAs, but a vast majority of CTC CNAs were exclusive to CTC. Then we classified the mutation and topinumber alternation drivers in different altered signaling pathways, and the RTK, RAS, PI3K, the cell cycle, and the DNA repair signaling pathway were prevalent, and 9 other signaling pathways were also altered. So all of these data show the remarkable genomic heterogeneity of CTCs, of single CTCs as resistant to BRAF inhibition. So to conclude on this first part, only 1 to 26 mutated CTCs harbored the BRAF V600E mutation at progressive disease to BRAF inhibitors, suggesting that the resistance was not driven by these mutant CTCs. Single CTC profiling reveals a wide spectrum of off-target alteration in multiple oncogenic pathways, and single CTC sequencing analysis may provide important complementary information to bulk tumor samples to assess heterogeneous resistance mechanisms and to guide precision medicine in BRAF V600E non-small cell lung cancer patients. So now let's talk a little bit about our new methods developed in collaboration with Beckman Coulter. Unmet needs in CTC studies are that traditional methods for CTC detection remain imperfect in setting of non-small cell lung cancer. The major limitations are the reliance on EpCAM to detect CTCs, and we know that in some tumors the EMT is relevant, and we cannot capture CTCs only with the EpCAM protein. And there is a requirement of an enrichment process. So we know that this process is inevitably associated with CTC loss. So there is a critical need of methods that bypass EpCAM dependence and enrichment steps. So what is enrichment-free FACS? This method allows an immunofluorescence staining directly on the whole blood without any enrichment. FACS analysis is done by the Cytoflex SRT. This is a new generation of FACS from Beckman Coulter, and single CTCs and macro cells were sorted to confirm the malignancy by copy number alteration profiles. So during the development steps, so to evaluate the accuracy of this method, recopy analysis was performed. Pre-established quantities of PC9 cell lines, so it's cell lines from non-small cell lung cancer patients, were directly spiked into acid donor blood samples, and we observed an high accuracy in tumor cell detection by EFFACS, especially at low counts of cell line. Then 86 paired blood samples were used for a comparison analysis of EFFACS with the standard technique cell search, and the median number of CTCs detected by cell search was 0, whereas the median number of CTCs detected by EFFACS was 6. So this data shows the superiority of the EFFACS for detecting CTCs in non-small cell lung cancer patients. What about the clinical utility of this method? So on this graph we can see that the EFFACS CTC count is associated with poorer prognosis for non-small cell lung cancer patients, and statistical analysis for the circulating tumor DNA was not significant. What about the risk stratification for these patients? Here you can see that CTCs in combination with the clinical biomarkers enable the identification of patients at high risk of death in the 6 first months from CTC collection. And the combination of CTC, ctDNA, and clinical biomarkers perform better in risk stratification in an intermediate term between 0 to 12 months. So to conclude about this part, EFFAX method is a simple, democratizable method for CTC detection and isolation with a higher sensitivity than the cell search. This method allows multiparametric protein detection and single-cell molecular analysis. And EFFAX detected non-small cell lung cancer CTCs and circulating tumor DNA are independent prognostic biomarkers, so it's very interesting for the clinical aspect. And statistical analysis highlights the importance of these both independent biomarkers, CTCs and ctDNA, in the risk stratification of patients, with each according to the disease. So I would like to thank all the CTC team at BISAVOC and all the collaborators for these both studies. For sure, we have to thank all the patients and their families that participated in this study. And thank you very much for your attention. And I will be happy to answer your questions if you have some. Thank you.
Any questions? Can you go to slide 11?
Sorry?
Slide 11.
Slide 11.
It's just maybe a mistake because the median number of cells is 0. Means is it 0 or?
By cell search. Yeah.
So what is that? Does it signify?
So
11. Please go back.
We have to know that the cell search is EPCAM based. So in non-small cell lung cancer, we have a lot of EMT. So in this epithelial mesenchymal transition, the EPCAM protein is the first one that is lost with the advantages of more mesenchymal proteins, such as vimentin and cadherin, etc. So by cell search, it's logical that we can't detect a lot of CTCs in non-small cell lung cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. It's very interesting work, especially considering that you have done the CTC work from taking from the patients and trying to identify the mutations in those different genes. I just had a question, like when you build a correlation of mutations and the recurrence of the disease, like the metastasis and how colonization is happening in other organs.
Yeah.
What do you see? Which of this mutation has more impactful, effect of the CTCs in colonization?
Oh, okay, so it's a good question. I think the mutations which have most important impact, it's the oncogenic driver alternation.
Okay.
So the tyrosine kinase pathway, such as EGFR, BRAF, ALK, all of these mutations are crucial for the development of cancer. And when we have this alteration in the solid tumor biopsies, we validated that also in our single CTCs. But that is very enthusiastic to work on CTCs, is that we have a lot of complementary information we cannot find in a small fragment of tumor biopsy, just localized in one locus.
Yeah, I'm sure it is a lot of heterogeneity between the CTC population, and you see that differences. One more point is that CTC, essentially when we talk about EMT, and then when you talk about CTC, we also talk about something called mesenchyme to epithelial transition, which is very important for colonization.
Also extravasation.
Yeah, MET, we call it MET, right? Now, have you seen these genes have any relation to, because ultimately CTC's colonization is governed by MET, attachment to endothelial layer, followed by MET, and then colonizations, right?
It's a very good question. It's not really the focus in our lab, but we have a neighbor team who work on that, and
Yeah.
it's a very good.
Yeah, it
Questions.
means interestingly, if you look at people work on EMT. Nobody thinks about MET because ultimately the recurrence is the problem in cancer, right? You know, we can eliminate from the site, but we cannot eliminate the CTCs from there and colonization.
That we yeah.
Yeah, right. So
That we observed is that CTCs which are really in EMT process,
Yes.
so with a good balance between the epithelial markers and mesenchymal markers,
mesenchymal marker.
these ones are very aggressive,
Yes.
and these ones are responsible of metastasis.
Metastasis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility to solve them depending on the cells during this transition? Is there any change in the shape of the cells on,
Yeah.
on the size?
There is a
Yes,
cell
yeah,
change.
we
Yeah,
can see
definitely.
that a change of the shape.
So,
Yeah.
So they are more like mesenchymal cells, hematopoietic cells, and when for the invert process,
it's
it's
just opposite.
like epithelial cells.
Epithelial cells, yeah.
So very interesting work. And so in your thought, like how universal this BRAF will be, it will be only specific to non-small cell, or it will be for other cancers as well?
Oh, the technique I use?
No, the BRAF like as a.
Yeah. So this heterogeneity and all this data, we also demonstrated that in breast cancer in our team, and in prostate cancer also. So in these different tumors, we saw this huge heterogeneity of single CTCs, and this is very interesting for our clinician collaborators, because some alterations that are not detected in solid tumors, we can detect them in CTCs, and they could really be therapeutic targets, potential therapeutic targets. So for some of these alterations, molecules exist, so we can think about some combination of therapies. So there is a real clinical application and utility of CTCs in this oncology